It's been a little while, hasn't it? Because I've been unwell as well as busy. So yeah, Happy New Year. I am so sorry that it's taken me such a while to get back into the swing of things with making videos, but hi, hello, if you're new here, my name is TJ. I am a baby ASMR artist as well as a musician, and tonight we're going to be talking about all things music. We're going to be talking about my top 10 albums that I've listened to in the year of 2024. But before I do that, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment as to what were your favourite albums or songs or artists that you found in 2024. I would love to hear about it. So this is going to be a nice and easy, chill video. I'm going to try soft spoken style video, which I hope to do a bit more of. And you can grab a cup of tea or coffee or any kind of hydration. Find a nice cozy place to relax and feel safe. You can zone out or fall asleep to this. Whatever is going to make you feel comfortable and make you feel safe as we talk about this. That's what we're about here. Making sure that you have a safe space to be yourself. Because it's important that we have places like that, isn't it? Alright, let's get on into the albums. A lot of these albums were 2024 releases, but a lot of them aren't. This is more about the albums that I discovered during the year and I listened to in 2024. Not so much about my favourite releases, but there are my favourite releases in here as well. So, as we're doing a Watch Mojo style top 10, I will start with some honourable mentions. I have 6 honourable mentions to honourably mention before we get into the top 10. And you will quickly learn just how eclectic and mad and varying my music taste is, because we have everything from folk to indie folk to ethereal pop to children's music to musical theatre to... yeah, I'll just get into it, shall I? So, my first honourable mention, I've got 6, is I Dream of You, the Christmas version by J.J. Heller. It was my favourite Christmas album I listened to in December. We're coming back to J.J. Heller, but she does a lot of children's music, kind of lullaby kind of stuff. That's what the I Dream of You series of albums is about, and discovered the Christmas one. It's mostly covers, but it's beautiful. I love it. The next honourable mention is the original Broadway soundtrack of Diana the Musical. Yes, you heard right. Diana the Musical. There is a full film production of it up on Netflix if you wish to watch it. This musical is trash, but I love it. It is stunning, solid gold trash. And I'd recommend it to anyone who wants a wild ride of a show. And yeah, I've so many thoughts and opinions on it, but it's fabulous. The next honourable mention is Safe Ground by Sandriati. I discovered Sandriati this year. She supported Ghostly Kisses on her most recent tour, and I went and listened to the album, and I think it's beautiful. It's really zen, it's really beautiful, it's really relaxing, and really self-affirming as well. So if that's your kind of vibe, couldn't recommend it enough. It's beautiful. The next honourable mention is one that I'm sure you know of and has gotten very, very popular this year, despite it being a 2023 release, and that is The Rise and Fall of a Midwestern Princess by Chappell Roan. Absolutely love Chappell Roan. It's not a perfect album because you can kind of tell she's still trying stuff out, but there are some fantastic songs on this album. And I know that her second album, if this was like a tester, the second album is gonna slap. It's gonna be so good. Fifth honourable mention is another very, very popular one, and that is The Secret of Us, specifically the deluxe version by Gracie Abrams. Some fantastic songs across this album, including a deluxe track that has blown up and a really, really good one that's blown up. I've been a fan of Gracie for a while, and I'm really, really glad that she's finally getting the massive popularity that she's deserved for such a long time. And yeah, I still think Good Riddance, the album before this one, was slightly better, but it's a fantastic album nonetheless. And my final honourable mention, just missing out on the top 10, but only just, is Cowboy Carter by Beyonce. It's a bit long, and I didn't quite get into it as much as I did Renaissance, but the genre bending, the power statement, and the continuity of the album is incredible, and it is a phenomenal achievement. It's a body of work that is truly incredible. Yeah, objectively it's one of the best albums I think I'm going to be talking about, but this is not an overly objective list. This is about stuff that's resonated with me personally. Alright, so those are our honourable mentions. Now let's get into the top 10. At number 10, we have Brat by Charli XCX. There is so much power with this album, isn't there, if you know it? Because you know an album's marketing has done so well when the word is just become synonymous with the artist, when the branding and the colours have just become so synonymous with the artist and the album, and when it became its own kind of summer identity, Brat Summer as it were, that was real. We all had our Brat Summers, didn't we? I know I did. And I loved it. It's as much as it is it's a more obnoxious sound than Charli's used to. It's very housey, it's very chaotic, but there is also really beautiful vulnerable moments such as So I, which was in memory of Sophie, which was beautiful. So it is a kind of a trashy and self-aware trashy album, but it's also very vulnerable at the same time, and it's a phenomenal achievement in marketing, and it's a phenomenal achievement in terms of its continuity. My favourite songs on this album are 365, Mean Girls. I think Mean Girls would make a phenomenal kind of trashy ballet. Club Classics, I Adore, as well as Sympathy is a Knife. Was also a fan of the Ariana Grande reboot of Sympathy is a Knife. But yes, those are the ones. So yes, number 10 is Brat. Number 9 is J.J. Haller, I Dream of You, Sleep. So, I mentioned I Dream of You Christmas in the honourable mentions. I Dream of You is a series of albums put out by J.J. Haller, which are children's music. I know, children's music. But they're super relaxing, super chill. They're so beautiful. The production is really, really wonderful and dreamy and really comforting, and they just make my heart very, very happy. And I Dream of You Sleep, I started listening to bits and pieces of it in July, but I always kind of knew in my head this is a very December-y soundscape. So I properly listened to the full album in December. I like to bookmark albums for certain times of the year when I think they'll be more resonant. And I'm so glad I left it for end of November, December time, because it was so beautiful. I have a really beautiful memory with this album, because I remember one time I listened to it whilst my boyfriend was falling asleep on my chest, and there are some really beautiful love songs, and the album is all about keeping someone you love safe. That's the general theme of the album. It's beautiful, it's got covers on it, it's got originals on it, and it's stunning and relaxing and beautiful. And if you want an album to fall asleep to, it is a stunning choice. My favourite songs on this album are I Dream of You. I Dream of You is actually one of my favourite songs of the year. Big Love, Small Moments, I Know You Will, and When I'm With You. When I'm With You is a very, very special song to me. And yeah. Moving on to number 8. Number 8. We have Ben Platt with Honeymind. This is a album I really didn't want to like because I have a kind of love-hate relationship with Ben Platt in my head, in that I don't want to like his music, but I do, because his voice is one that I, in many ways, have kind of spiritually grown up with, and I love it, and he is a beautiful, beautiful songwriter, and his lyrics have always been very personally resonant, and Honeymind, in many ways, is a big love letter to his now husband, and yeah, it's a real ode to being queer and soft-hearted, as a lot of his music is, but I think especially Honeymind. And yeah, there's just some really, really beautiful, heartfelt stuff, and it's a lot more kind of laid back and focused on music, lyrics and arrangement, as opposed to being overly vocally flexy like some of his previous work has been. It's beautiful, it's lulling, it's gorgeous, and ultimately, if you've been queer, soft-hearted and in love, there is something for you within this album. It's beautiful. My favourite songs are Boy Who Hung the Moon, Andrew, All American Queen, and Before I Knew You. So now we move on to number 7. And this is very much a 2024 release. I think, yeah, with the exception of I Dream of You Sleep, they've all been 2024 releases so far. Number 7 is from Little Moon, and the album is called Dear Divine. This is a very indie find, and one that is very, very recent discovery, and I'm so surprised it hasn't blown up, because Little Moon, their voice is unbelievable. The soprano kind of heights that they can get to, and the vocals on this album are unbelievable. There's some really mystical and beautiful ethereal arrangements, and yeah, it's a real experience listening to this album, and it was constantly playing throughout the month of November for me. It will now forever be a bit of a November album. Absolutely beautiful arrangements, beautiful production, really, really lovely kind of continuity between the songs, which is always something I love. Kind of flowing with themes of spiritual connection and healing, as well as connections to the divine, whatever the divine means for you. And it's stunning. It's so beautiful. And yeah, it was a very unexpected find and was a very unexpected favourite, but I would recommend it to everyone. It is a stunning album. My favourite songs on it are Holy and Sweet, For You, We Fall in Our Sleep, Now, and To Be a God, which is the last song on the album. So I gave you 5 favourites there. At number 6, we are staying on a slight folk. We're staying on a slight folk kind of wave, but we're bringing it back to Blighty. This one might shock you, but this is The Longest Johns with their 2024 release of Voyage. Of all the people that I have seen live, I have seen The Longest Johns the most. At 3 times. Not long after this album was released, myself and my brother, because we're both fans of Longest Johns, it's kind of mine and my brother's joint special interest, we went down to London to see the touring show that accompanied this album, and it was incredible. Voyage is not my favourite album they've done, and you can definitely tell that since it's their first album as a trio, you can tell that the songwriting has changed, but the covers are incredible, the arrangements are incredible, and all of the albums, the track listing is really, really well thought through. They really think about the journey of their listener, and it's just so much fun. They're all their own little individual stories and universes, and it's just folk music done so beautifully. The Longest Johns are a sea shanty band in many of the senses, but there is a lot more of an emphasis on the folk side of things with this effort, and I love it for that so much. My favourite songs on this album are their cover of Leaving of Liverpool, which is stunning, and obviously because Liverpool is my hometown, of course I'm going to be biased towards that song. Other favourites are The Land Dogger, John the Red Nose, Willie Taylor, and Maggie Sheep. Great song. Okay, so at number 5, we're in the top 5 now. We have one of my favourite artists on the planet, Aurora, with her 2024 release, That Was What Happened to the Heart. It took me a while to get into this one. I think because it was released in June, and because the sound of the album was quite gothic in a way, it didn't quite suit it, but I ended up seeing Aurora at the start of October, and I started getting into the album as autumn fall hit, and I just really, really fell in love with it. Not just as an album, but as individual songs. They are just beautiful and some of the best songs that she's written. And all of it emphasised so much more by seeing her live, because the show, the Whatever Happened to the Heart tour, was one of the best concerts I've been to, and definitely my favourite gig I went to in 2024. It was equal parts comedy show, and as well as healing experience, as well as a concert. She was unbelievable. And What Happened to the Heart as an idea focuses on, what's happened to us as a people. what's happened to our humanity. And a lot of these songs came from Aurora's very unique way of processing the world. And it's a beautiful way she processes the world. And there's so much I can talk about. There's also a book that accompanies this album, which I haven't got yet, but I really want to, because she has a beautiful mind, a beautiful voice, a beautiful style. All of these songs are so unique and they're just incredible. I think I have listed like 6 favourite songs, which is the record of favourites. So my favourite songs are Starvation, Conflict of the Mind, When Dark Dresses Lightly, Do You Feel, Dreams, and To Be Alright. And that is about half the album, but honestly, I wish I could say more, because it is just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful body of work, and very much earned my number 5. At number 4 was a rather unexpected one, because I discovered Rosendale and specifically fell in love with his album Love, Loss and the Woes of Humanity. I know, what a title. So, this is quite a long album, and it is very much a sad boy vibes kind of album. A lot of it, I think of all of the albums I'm listing, it's the one which kind of feels like a compilation the most, as opposed to a continuous body of work. But they do have a consistent theme of being hung up on a relationship from the past, and just generally about feeling unstuck and coming unstuck in life, as well as some important topics that are important to Rosendale. There is an awful lot, but I think what I love so much about this album and why it resonated so much to me when I first listened to it is it has just the most beautiful soundscapes. They're really easy on the ear. Rosendale's voice is so beautiful in its simplicity. His songwriting is really powerful, and it's just full of so much longing and, again, a sensitivity very similar to Honeymind with Ben Platt, of, being soft-hearted and queer. It's all there, and it is just beautiful. It's beautiful to take in, and it relaxed me a lot at a time when I needed it, hence why it's number 4. So my favourite songs from Love, Loss and the Woes of Humanity are Still Young, If This Was for the Best, Take Care of Him Okay, and I'm Not Coming to Your Wedding. What great titles, I know. So we're getting into the top 3. So at number 3, drum roll please. And number 3 is Mindy Gledhill with the Phone Booth Sessions Volume 1. I have loved Mindy Gledhill for a while now. She is one of my favourite songwriters and lyricists that we have with us at the minute. She's an independent artist from Utah, and the concept behind the Phone Booth Sessions is that she essentially recorded all of these songs in a transportable phone booth, literally into a phone, and every single song is a message to her inner child. And what you have is this really beautiful and really profound album about self-acceptance and healing our relationship with our younger selves, which is something that is so resonant with me personally. And I think Mindy's music has always kind of reflected that in the lyrics and in the soundscapes. But this is the first album where she's fully committed to that as an idea and as a concept. And what we have is a short album, but one that with the volume 1 is implied that this concept, that she's not finished with this concept, so we're going to get more of this, which is very exciting. But it is a absolutely stunning bit of work, and was so resonant and made me very, very happy, and made me feel very, very seen as an autistic person as well. It's a beautiful album and I'd recommend it to anyone. My favourite songs are the one cover that's on it of the Cranberries' Dreams. It's a phenomenal cover. It's one of my favourite covers of that song I've heard. Charming. Both versions of Long Distance Lullaby, because there's 2. And Pleased to Meet Me. Cannot recommend this album enough. She's also one of my biggest musical inspirations as well. I'll have to cover her on the channel at some point. Okay, the silver medal at number 2 was a rather accidental discovery. So I first discovered this artist at the start of 2024 when I was looking up a song just called 26 to celebrate me turning 26. Her song called 26 really resonated with me, and I thought, oh, this artist is really cool. And then I found this album. The artist is Morgan Clae, and the album is called Dreamboy. Dreamboy, Dreamboy. This is one of the most conceptually beautiful albums about a breakup you will ever hear. It is a phenomenal breakup album, and I first listened to this when I'd just gotten into a new relationship as well, which is quite ironic, but how do I describe this album apart from genius? To give you a concept of the album, it is essentially a journey through the start of a relationship, the relationship having a brief honeymoon period, and then the relationship falling apart. The entire story is told through a series of, I think, 9 songs, all with a title of the this, the that. So we've got the hope, we've got the dream, we've got the ride, we've got the truth, we've got the insult, the injury, the break, the silence, all ending with The Next Day, which is the last song on the album, and The Next Day is one of the most gut-wrenching and scream in your car breakup songs I've ever heard. It's genuinely incredible. Morgan Clae's voice is insane. The range on her and the power on her is incredible. It's incredibly cinematic in terms of the production, and it's beautiful. Lyrics are stunning, and it is just a really emotional journey, and I wish I had it during my last tumultuous breakup. It would have helped me a lot. But if you're going through a breakup, man, you're lucky that you get to experience this in a breakup, in the context of processing a breakup, because oh my word, it's incredible, and I highly recommend you go listen to it and try not to cry. So my favourite song is The Next Day, but my other favourites are The Silence, The Dream, and The Break Injury. Okay, this is the moment I guess you've all been waiting for. What's my number 1 album I've listened to? And it's actually, I think, the oldest album on the list, because this album was released in 2013, but I discovered this album thanks to my boyfriend. This album is by Autoheart, and it's their album Punch. I was not expecting this album to resonate as much with me as it did. And it's one of those where objectively I feel like I've listened to better albums, but there is a beautiful, beautiful sense that they really thought hard about how to order their track list, because it's very kind of angsty in a way. There's a lot about mental health, there's a lot about drug addiction, there's a lot about death and grief, and there's a lot about heartbreak in relationships. It's a real journey, but the lead singer, Jodie, has a beautiful voice. There are some beautiful, beautiful arrangements and orchestrations, and the production is stunning, and the songwriting is gorgeous, and just the soundscapes, I think in particular, have been so resonant with me. And I listened to this album in October in 2024, and October was a pretty tough one for me mentally, and this album really, really helped pull me through that. And I'm so thankful to my boyfriend for showing this out, for getting me into this band and getting me into this album, because it is stunning. And even though it's not a genre I typically go to, it's very kind of indie rock, kind of London indie rock, but it's beautiful, it's stunning, it's gorgeous, and highly, highly recommend it. My favourite song is Heartbreaker, which is the final track on the album. It's just a really, really beautiful way to end the album. But then other favourites are Hungover in the City of Dust, Agoraphobia, The Witching Hour, and January. So I like the moody ones on the album, but I was in a moody time period. It was October. October is a moody month. So, that concludes my top 10 of all of the albums and my favourite and my top 10 albums that I listened to in 2024. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you found this soothing, relaxing. I hope you've got new recommendations, new albums to listen to, new artists to discover. All of these artists and these albums have really inspired me in my music. And this will be the year where I will share this music with you. I've been writing and making music for a long time, but sharing has always been scary. But it won't be scary this year, because hopefully I'll have you to share it with. So, as I like to do at the end of these videos, I'd like for us to affirm that we're safe, that we're loved and we're protected, and all of that good stuff, because if I'm going to achieve anything with ASMR or my music, the goal is the same. I want you to have a safe space to be yourself. So, affirm with me. You are here. You are safe. You are protected. And you are loved. You are here. You are safe. You are protected. And you are loved. You are here. You are safe. You are protected. And you are loved. You are loved so very much. I hope you have a wonderful day, night, morning, evening, or afternoon, wherever you're watching. I will see you very, very soon. Take care.